My name is Robert. I used to study at Stanford University and at the London School of Economics. I'm originally from Poland, and I got my startup experience straight out of college, completely messing up a company as I tried to build it. And then over time, having worked for one of the fastest growing GovTech cloud SaaS startups in the US called OpenGov. Then I worked with two Bitcoin startups, one life science startup, very briefly, before I set out to work on my own company, which I'm doing currently again after many years of experience. When it comes to startup success, startup growth, I think the key thing to figure out is product market fit. In order to get there, probably the most important factor is having a team, a co-founder team that's aligned and not in a mess. So that's, in a nutshell, what I wanted to say up front. Before I answer these questions, I wanted to give you some upfront advice that might be helpful to anybody who wants to build a company, a startup. First of all, just use these four things. One is the business model canvas by Osterwalder. Second, use a pitch deck template created by Sequoia Capital. You'll find it on Google. Third, use Y Combinator Startup School. Participate in it. They're doing cool stuff. They have really amazing content that'll help you learn a lot. Fourth, use Twitter. Give a short, crisp pitch of what you're doing. Make sure that anybody can understand it, including your mom or your grandma. And that pitch should describe what you're doing for whom. Once you give the pitch, describe the problem, describe who's your user or who's your customer, describe your solution if you can, and above all, sell yourself and your product when you're asked, what are you doing? One is the obtainable or reachable market that you can reach very easily or most easily. Second is the available market. And third is the total addressable market. So total addressable market could be global or could be sort of the market for your vision. Now, what you should do regardless is always do bottoms up analysis. Don't just do vanilla research on market revenues for the market you're attacking or entering and say, this is my market. You have to dig deeper and you have to show that you can really calculate and evaluate bottom up how you're going to reach and sell into that market. Now I won't dive into the definition of product market fit. You can use Google to research that on your own. However, what's key in answering this question of what is your potential product market fit is describing how you will enter the market and how you imagine your product will fit in this market in terms of user behavior and satisfying the core needs of your customers. It is hard to do because if it was easy to define product market fit, everybody would be at it and everybody would be reaping profits and making a lot of money. Sometimes it's random, sometimes it's planned in terms of how you get to product market fit. One of the things you can do in answering this question is describe how you will distribute your product or service, that is, reach customers in a sustainable and scalable way. But this is only sustainable only if you're fulfilling their needs. Now, this might seem like a straightforward question. You can talk about your internal or external risks. If you would like to dive deeper into it, take a look also at the business model canvas. Now, in terms of risks, you can talk about your competition. You can talk about user behaviors or barriers to entry into your market. You can talk about technical risk, which is very commonplace amongst the real tech startups. You can talk about team risk or funding or capital risk, cash flow risk, so on. It all depends what market you're in and what you're doing. If you're building, for instance, a marketplace, you should absolutely talk about the chicken or egg problem, namely which side of the market are you thinking about bootstrapping first to turn it into a functional marketplace. Now, some investors ask this question. It often gets asked prematurely, but in general, I would say this is so because it doesn't really matter. In the beginning, you don't have anything. You don't usually have any intellectual property unless you're working on a spin-off or unless you're a deep tech or science startup. And especially in software, it doesn't matter. However, it might be valuable in some areas, maybe in algorithms. Although trade secrets are usually better here than intellectual property by itself. IP is, however, crucial or essential in some areas, like life sciences, medicine, pharma, or hardware. However, in the end, if you're not able to build a viable business, this IP won't help you with anything unless you can really sell it to somebody at a very high price.